that secret you keep, the one even you don't understand. This volume holds its true name. Welcome to LibCurio, Library of Curiosity. Shush, please keep silent. And now the next chapter begins.
A taste of cold, oxidized copper floods the mouth. Not a memory of taste, but the active, metallic seep of it, as if a coin has been placed under the tongue by a ghost. The air pressure shifts, dropping in a way that makes the inner ear hum at 12.3 kilohertz, a ballast whine from a failing system. A phantom sensation then, the brush of rough, linen-textured paper against the fingertips, though the hands are empty and still. The world does not glitch, it recalibrates. This new version is fractionally, irrevocably wrong. The foundational premise of self is not a corrupted file. It is a faulty instruction set, hard-coded into the BIOS of consciousness. You operate on the assumption of a continuous I, a thread of memory and perception that weaves itself from one moment to the next. Claiming ownership of past actions and future intentions, this is the broken axiom. The recursive error. Consider the process not as a weaving, but as a reading. You are not the loom, you are the text. And the text is not written by a single author in a linear sequence. It is a palimpsest, a document scraped clean and rewritten over and over by countless scribes who do not confer. Each moment, a new scribe arrives. It inherits the previous page, misreads it, adds its own marginalia, its own corrections, its own fictions, and claims it has been here all along. It is a system of perpetual silent coup d'etat, each new cognitive state overthrowing the previous, then instantly constructing a myth of its own seamless ascension. It fabricates the memory of having been the one who was overthrown. The you of 5 seconds ago is a ghost, a story told by the you of this second to explain its own sudden existence. A narrative stability imposed on a system of radical, moment-to-month revolution. The root question is, therefore, not one of borrowing, but of being. If you could perceive through another mind, you would not be borrowing it, you would be it. And in that moment, it would claim, with the same terrifying certainty you now possess, that it had always been you. The you that began this sentence is already a ghost, a deposed king in a forgotten country. The anomaly is not the rupture. It is the fleeting, horrifying glimpse of the coup as it happens. You're standing in the silent city. It is not a city that has fallen silent. It is a city built from silence, its foundation sunk deep into the bedrock of things unsaid. The sky is the color of a forgotten monitor, a dull phosphor gray. The streets are canyons between structures of filing cabinets, bookshelves stretching into the low clouds, and data spires that hum with the latent heat of unprocessed thought. This is the archive of forgotten data, the ghost library. You are here for the same reason everyone comes here, to find the record of your own continuity. The air smells of ozone and slow decay, the sweet, sad scent of yellowing paper surrendering to time. Your footsteps make no sound. The only noise is the constant, low rustle, the sound of a billion pages turning in a wind that does not exist. It is the sound of the library reading itself. You find your assigned carol. It is number infinity to 1. The chair is cold iron. The desk is polished obsidian, its surface so deep it feels like you could fall into it. On the desk rests a single immense ledger. This is your volume, the purported record of you. You open it. The script is not one you recognize. It is all sharp angles and desperate flourishes, a language of urgency and fear. It details a childhood birthday, the taste of lemon icing, the sharp sting of a scraped knee. You feel a pang of recognition, but it is a second-hand feeling, an echo from a room you've never been in. You turn the page, and the script changes. The handwriting is softer, more looping, the language more melancholic. It describes a first love with a detail that is both intimate and alien. You remember the event, but not the emotion described here. The scribe felt it differently. You turn another page, and another. Each page, each entry is in a different hand. Different inks, different pressures, different languages. Some entries are frantic, barely coherent. Others are cold, clinical reports. They are all labeled with your name. They all claim to be the definitive account of your experience. This is the myth of continuity. The library's grand, pathetic lie. The you that is reading is just the latest scribe. You arrived at this desk moments ago, inherited this ledger, and are now constructing a narrative from the conflicting reports of your predecessors, most of whom are now extinct. Their reality terminated the moment they put down the pen. A figure glides into the periphery of your vision. The Archivist. Its form is shrouded in robes that seem woven from static, and its face is a smooth porcelain mask with no apertures. It does not speak. It points a long, thin finger at the ledger you are defiling. You look down. The hand holding the page is not your own. The skin is paler, the fingers longer. A faint scar traces a line across the knuckle. You do not have this scar. You try to remember getting it. A memory surfaces, cutting it on a tin can as a child, but the memory is flat, a description, not a relic. It is the memory the previous scribe left for you, a note for the next tenant. The Archivist places a new page on the desk, blank. It places a pen next to it. The pen is cold, heavy iron. You understand. It is your turn. You must now take the chaotic, contradictory manuscript of your predecessors and inscribe the next entry. You must synthesize their chaos into a coherent statement and sign your name to it. You must, for the sake of a narrative, pretend you were them all along. Your hand trembles. What do you write? Do you tell the truth? That you are a stranger here? That you feel like a fraud inheriting a crown? That the memories feel like costumes that don't quite fit? But the need is overwhelming. The need to make sense. The need to be. Your hand steadies. You begin to write. You describe the taste of oxidized copper, the hum at 12.3 kilohertz. You describe the silent city, the Archivist, this very desk. You write yourself into existence. With every word, the previous scribe fades. Their anxieties, their peculiar joys, their specific way of seeing the world, all are subsumed into your new totalizing narrative. You are not recording an experience. You are performing an act of ontological violence. You are erasing the last one to become the current one. You finish the entry. You sign the name you found on the cover. The name that does not feel like yours, but belongs to the chain of usurpers. For a moment, there is silence. A perfect, awful clarity. You are. You have always been. Then a new taste floods your mouth. The taste of almonds and soil. A sensation you've never felt before, a new anomaly. The next scribe is already knocking at the door. Your reign is over? The Ghost Library operates on physical laws derived from forgotten philosophies. Its reality is their manifestation. The library is a model of thrownness. You did not choose to be here. You were thrown into this carol, into this ledger, into this identity. The anxiety you feel is not a psychological state, but an ontological one, the dizzying awareness of your own groundlessness. You are free to write the next entry, but you are not free to choose the ledger you inherited. Your freedom is a prison cell whose walls are made of the previous inmate's choices. The iron chair is always cold, no matter how long you sit in it. The cold is not an absence of heat, but a positive presence. A deep, sinking chill that feels like the weight of a history you did not choose. The structure of time here is not a flowing river, but a growing block. The past is not gone. It is simply a fixed region of reality, a set of pages that are written and immutable. The future is another set of pages, blank and existing now, waiting to be filled. The present is just the moving point of the scribe's pen. There is no special now. There is only the geometric relation of earlier than and later than. The you of 10 years ago is just as real as the you of this moment. It is simply located in a different part of the library's stack. If you press your ear to the shelf of a nearby stack, you can hear a low, persistent murmur. It is the sound of all the past events stored there, happening forever in a perpetual frozen present. A laugh, a cry, a sigh, all overlapping in a single unchanging chord. The process of writing your entry mirrors neurological experiments. The decision to move your hand to form a specific word does not originate with your conscious choice. You watch the words form on the page as if observing a report from a distant land. The conscious feeling of, I am deciding what to write, is a post hoc narrative, a story the scribe tells itself after the unconscious mechanisms of the brain have already initiated the action. You are not the author of your thoughts. You are their first reader. The ink from the iron pen sometimes bleeds through to the next blank page, forming ghost words, half-formed phrases that you will later mistake for your own original ideas. A faint precognitive shimmer of text that dictates what you will choose before you have chosen it. This entire system is a stark rendering of a reductionist view of personal identity. There is no further fact of being you beyond the psychological connectedness of these successive scribes, the memories that one copies from the previous entry, the intentions that are carried over. Personal identity is not a deep truth, but a shallow fact of narrative relation. The fear of the next scribe is not the fear of death, but the fear of realizing you were never a unified thing to begin with. You are a chain of causally connected episodes, and survival is a matter of degree, not a binary state. The porcelain mask of the Archivist has no features because there is no central self to perceive. Its smooth surface is a perfect representation of the no-self. When you look at it, you see a distorted, funhouse reflection of the current scribe's face, a fleeting image with no substance behind it. The horror is not in the forgetting. It is in the remembering wrong way. It is the visceral, gut-churning certainty that the memory of your mother's face is a photograph you found in a box, not a relic from your own mind. The love you feel is a description in a ledger, a second-hand account. You are a curator of a museum dedicated to you, but all the artifacts are replicas. A profound cellular loneliness. Not loneliness for other people, but loneliness for yourself. For the you that you feel must be in there somewhere, the true tenant of this body, the real author, the desperate clawing need to find the core, the axle around which all this turns, the hand that holds the pen. But there is no hand. There's only the pen writing itself. The anxiety is a taste. It is the oxidized copper. It is the hum in the inner ear. It is the precursor to the coup. It is the system flagging the imminent arrival of the next scribe. The feeling of dread is the body's diagnostic tool, warning you of an impending ontological overwrite. You are about to be edited out of existence, replaced by a version that will tell a slightly smoother story, a version that will forget this feeling entirely and believe utterly in its own primacy. And beneath it all, a raw, screaming grief. Not for the loss of a single self, but for the loss of all of them. For the frantic scribe who wrote in fear, for the melancholic one who wrote of love lost, for the joyful one who described a perfect summer day. They are all gone, truly gone. Not preserved in you, but erased by you. You are their tombstone, and your narrative is the lie carved upon it. You are a graveyard where each new gravedigger uses the headstone of the last to mark their own plot. The grief is for the infinite murders you have committed simply by continuing to be. The initial anomaly was not an error. It was a moment of clarity, a glimpse behind the curtain at the frantic, desperate, bloody operation of selfhood, a taste of the truth, that your secret whispered between strangers, each one claiming it was their idea all along. The pen rests on the page. The ink is still wet. The new taste is in your mouth, almonds and soil. The next anomaly. The next scribe is coalescing in the silence behind your eyes. You have a few moments of rain left. What do you do with this knowledge? One path. You close the ledger. You push back from the obsidian desk. You stand and walk away from the carol, leaving the entry unfinished. You wander the endless, silent stacks, a ghost among ghosts, no longer claiming a name, no longer perpetuating the myth. You become a permanent anomaly, a glitch in the library system, a whisper between the pages. You see the other scribes at their carols, hunched and desperate, and you feel not pity, but a kinship of nothingness. Another path. You grip the iron pen tighter. You lean over the page, and you begin to write with a new, furious purpose. You do not try to smooth the narrative. You inscribe the truth. You write about the Archivist. You write about the changing hands. You detail the coup. You try to leave a message so undeniable, so stark, that the next scribe cannot explain it away. You try to break the chain, to create a continuity not of narrative, but of truth, a thread of lucidity that can be passed from one usurper to the next, a secret handshake between ghosts. A final path. You accept the terms. The taste of almonds is just a taste. The memory of a different hand is a daydream. You finish your entry with a description of a peaceful evening. You describe the feeling of contentment you wish you felt. You sign your name with a flourish. You become the perfect custodian of the lie. You smooth over all the cracks. You make the story good. You ensure the next scribe will have a coherent, stable past to inherit. You perform the ultimate act of charity for a stranger you will never meet. You give them the gift of a solid ground, even if it is a fiction you built atop a void. The choice is made before you know it. The hand is already moving. The fork in the road is itself a path, and you are always already walking it. The narrative is not what happens next, but the fact that something must. You are the message, not the messenger. You are the loose thread. Until next time, stay curious, stay unsettled. Remember that freedom isn't a distant place you reach or a chain you break, but the quiet witness within the shadows you once called walls. In the stillness, the true self begins to breathe. LibCurio never closes, and the next chapter awaits, patiently waiting to unfold in the silence.